I'm David Blacker, Strategic Farm North, and we're here for end of year 1 Strategic Farm Open Day. We did actually do a few trials this year. We ran a drainage trial in a very badly drained field where we've put some drains in at different metre centres, and we're going to look at that, compare the yield maps going forward over the next 6 years to see what the payback will be on the bit we've drained. We've left a bit undrained completely, so we'll be able to get a comparison between drained and undrained. And hopefully get some idea of what spacing is better for what soil type, because there's 2 different soil types in the same field. We've done a canopy assessment as well, which is more leaning towards why do we get the yields we get, why do some areas yield 3 tonnes a hectare more than other areas in the field. All the soil types here are very variable. You can get 3 or 4 different soil types in the same field. Makes it a little bit challenging. You end up having to spray everything for everything because you get the grass weeds on the heavy and the broadleaf weeds on the light land. But there's big variation in the yield maps, so we're just trying to tease out some information of what is driving that difference in yield, whether it's a moisture thing that we can do nothing about, or whether there's structural elements below ground or plant counts that we can actually use a bit of precision farming. The 3rd trial we've done this year was it's a bit of an oddball one, but it was all to do with data. I've got so much data on farm. Right from everything from PK, mag, lime soil tests, and then we added calcium in there to get calcium mag ratios, and we added every year we're adding something else, organic matter. We started doing organic matter about 5 years ago. It got to the point where it was as cheap to get a full spectrum soil test done as it was doing little bits, adding them onto a normal test. And I would tend to look at yield maps and try and see what the differences is to the yield from all the data I've got. But I've now got so much data, I just can't, my brain can't comprehend it. I don't know where to start with it. So we've actually given AHDS all the data, and they've run it through like a non-biased spreadsheet that'll see if that'll tease out any indicators to what the either higher or lower yielding areas, if there's any trends towards them. Well, I did the monitor farm. I probably did that 6 years ago for 3 years, and then had 3 years off, and then the opportunity came up to be Strategic Farm North. So yeah, it's slightly different to the monitor farm programme in that there's not as many on-farm meetings through the winter, but there's a bit more funding there, and you can do a lot more in-depth trials, so it is a bit more targeted at what you look at. But it was just, for me, it was just too good an opportunity to miss. I've always been quite a researchy farmer. I've always been trialling stuff even when I haven't had the backup from any organisation. I've got involved with trials from Syngenta to Yara to I've been involved in all sorts of trials over the years, and guaranteed every year I'll have a tramline trial in somewhere, testing something, looking at something, and it's we're just trying to join dots and find answers like a lot of farmers are, and this was an opportunity to continue that, but with a bit more funding in the background and plenty of support behind me. Fantastic, a fantastic way to learn. I quickly found out with the monitor farm, farmers talking to farmers in a field with a scientist, there's no better way, especially in your own area, on your own soil type. We're all dealing with the same issues in agriculture. It's nice to face them in a group together and have a group discussion about it and what works, what doesn't work. Soil structure is probably my biggest take home, my biggest challenge, because I know I've got structural issues, some of them at depth, and it's quite knowing what to do about that. I know what healthy soil should look like. It's trying to get your own soil to look like that without going backwards and making the wrong decisions at the wrong time. There'll be up to input from anybody who comes to the meetings and input from the steering group to decide what we look at next. Nitrogen use efficiency, I think it's going to appear year 2. The draining trial will be ongoing, so we'll be assessing the yield maps from that going forward to see if the yield improves. One of the trials that I was most excited about was Jackie Stroud was going to do a worm trial in the field, where she pre-populated a field full of worms. Because one thing, the benchlining data that we've done for the Strategic Farm is I haven't actually got that many worms in field. I've got some juveniles but no adults. So what's happening to the worms? Why I don't have any. With AHDB from start to finish, you get out of it what you put into it, and we don't put very much in my opinion, from a levy point of view. It's very, very cost effective, very cheap, I think. But there's masses and masses and masses of information there, of people to talk to, of experts that you can tap into if you just engage with it.